Hello, everyone. We are welcome to the 11th class out of 16 classes for this training in data analytics, introduction to SQL and Python. So we are going to go into some discussion today on tables and operators and joins, then going to do a demo on Microsoft SQL. Okay, so I'm going to share my slide now. I'm going to, okay, yeah, so we've been on SQL statements and writing some SQL scripts for some days now. So as we write the scripts, we also need to understand the concepts. So today I'm going to explain the concept of table operators, joins, and table alias. And we are also going to demonstrate them as well. Yeah, so here's our objective for today. We'll be talking on these topics, right? And it's just a brief content today. It's going to be more of practical hands-on class. Okay, so we've been writing select statements, and we've also placed conditions on those select statements using the where clause. Remember, I told you that you would use the select statements very often, right? To view your data, to also retrieve information about your data. So most times people use select statements. In fact, sometimes support analyst teams are nicknamed select star teams at times. Why? Because they are giving they are giving rights to be able to view only on data, and most times what they are writing is just select statements, and select statements. So we need to understand various ways of writing the select statements, and you can write it in very numerous ways, right? So looking at the where clause instead in select statements, which allows you to condition your statements to retrieve data, you can place some operators on these select where statements. And examples of some of the operators are on your screen. It's not limited to this, but these are the most common ones that you would likely be using with your select statement. The first one is the like operator. You use the like operator to get certain specified patterns in your data. The like operator is used alongside with what we call wildcards. Wildcards are just symbols used to indicate the kind of pattern you want to retrieve from your data. For example, we have two main types of wildcards. We have the percentage sign wildcard. We have the underscore sign wildcard. Don't worry, we are going to see how this is done in the demo session, right? I just want you to understand the concept first and the syntax. Then we are going to write some of these statements in the demo session, right? So just like you can see on your screen, this is your select statement. Select, then you list out the column names you want to select, you want to pick out from the table name, then the where clause on a column. This can be on multiple columns as well. Then your like pattern. So your like pattern operates on a column to retrieve certain type of data that matches that pattern. Yeah, the next operator I'd like to discuss is the in operator. The in operator allows you to specify multiple values within a given range. For instance, let's say you have is a column containing ages, and you can just specify that, okay, retrieve all the customers within this age range for me. So you can use the in operator, right, to specify that. You can also use the in operator to specify individual values, like in this case. So I can want to retrieve certain age. So I can say age in, I want ages 18. I don't want 2021. I want ages 23, right? So I can skip values and, mention specific values, yeah, to use in my in clause. In clause is also used in another interesting way of um, like a nested select. So I can want to select um, certain data values within another select, right? So this is select statement in another kind of select statement. So this inner select statement will execute first and retrieve data for me. Sorry. This will execute first and retrieve data for me. So within this select statement, I want to also select more data. An example can be, okay, we have, let's say we have a student's database for footer, yeah, and within footer we have several departments, right? So I want to select all the students within engineering department. So this select statement, I will use this select statement to execute that. Then in my alpha statement, I can now say, okay, select from within this statement students that are of certain gender, all the females in this select statement, right? So sometimes you want to split your select statement like this. Sometimes you want to use a combined where clause to get it. So it depends on the data that is available to you and how you intend to grab your information out. So just assume SQL like as if you're speaking a language, you are speaking a syntax. So the way you have intended to speak or say what you want to say, then that same way you are going to write the syntax. So you can use select statements in many various ways. So it's just for you to understand the concept and then know how to use it to generate or retrieve information from your data. And you would need to be able to do this because when observing your data, when trying to know the patterns within your data, when doing exploratory analysis of your data, you would need the the skillfulness of knowing how to write select statements to be able to do that. Yeah, another operator with your select statement alongside with your where clause is the between operator. The between operator is similar to your in operator, but it's more specific to range. So you can see that in your in operator, you can specify values, right? But in your between, you can use between and to specify a range. An example is given to you below, right? So this will take all the values that are between 10 and 20. When we run our demo, we check if 10 will be inclusive or not. But the way the syntax is written, it appears that it will just take all the values that are between 10 and 20. So anything greater than 10 and less than 20. Right. So the next operator is the and, or, and not operator. You also use this alongside with your where clause, just like the name says. So when you have two comparing values, when you use the and operator, it takes all the values on both sides. When you use the or, it takes either values, then not, it will work on a condition of negate, it will negate the condition given to it. So let's see the syntax. So for the AND operator, right, you can see you use it with your where clause. So specifying the conditions, right, it would select from the table for you where this condition is satisfied. Then the same thing with your OR operator, specifying the conditions, it will select where these conditions are satisfied, and then the NOT condition. Oh, okay, so we have the is null operator. Sorry, I have some missing symbols here, but I'm going to explain. So the is null operator, is null simply means empty in the clear terms of things. So when there's an empty value, when there's a specified field with no value, then you say there's nothing there, then you can retrieve that as is null, right? So in this case, when we say select columns from table name where column name is null, it would pick the column names that have no values, right? Then when it's not null, it will give us the column names where there are values. So it's not null, it's not empty. So just understand null that way. So I'm going to stop on that on table operators. Those are some common table operators we need, and we are going to demonstrate that. Let's talk on table alias. Table or column alias are used to specify a temporary name for a table or a column. Most times you want to use table alias because maybe you need to rewrite your table name to specify a column, to specify some columns you want to retrieve. So instead of writing the long table name, you can just use the table alias. So when writing your script, all you just need to do is to define your alias name using the as clause. So we are going to see that as well. In some cases, you might not use the as clause. You can just use a space to demonstrate that. So again, another very important thing in writing SQL statements is your table joins. Table joins are mainly of three types. There are other forms of table joins, but I'm just going to concentrate on these three for this course. And they are the most important ones that you should know. And they are inner join, left outer join, and right outer join. So your inner join simply takes everything that is common to both tables. So you use joins when you are trying to retrieve data from more than one table, when you're trying to do a table merge. And remember, I told you that as an analytics expert, you would collect data from various tables, various sources. So before you can bring out interesting insights, you need to do some merging of your data, right? So in merging your data, you need to understand the concept of table joins. So when you do inner join, it will collect the information that are in both tables. So matching values in both tables, right? And this is the syntax for your inner join. It will select column names from can see table 1, specify table 1, then the join between the two tables. You specify that table 1 inner join table 2. Then to specify the joining factor, you use what we call on, then specify the joining factor. A clear case example is if you are trying to join two tables to retrieve more information about a foreign key. For instance, if you have a foreign key customer ID in the sales table and you want to retrieve the customer name from the customer's table, then you use a table join, right? And you can use inner join, you can use the other types of join depending on what you're trying to achieve. So the other type of join is a left outer join. The left outer join, just like the name says, will take the matching records from the right table. So the left outer join would take all the matching records from the right table, including the all the records from the left table, right? So this is also how you specify the left join. So in this case now, table 1 is your left, table 2 is on your right. So just see it as an arrangement of 1, then 2, then the left outer join is in between. So you specify it using left join. There's nothing like left inner join, it's always left outer join. So table 1, left outer join, table 2, it will take everything on the left and then the matching records between 1 and 2. Then of course you need to specify the connecting factor, the connecting key between the two tables. The right outer join as well would take all the records from the right and matching records from the left. So everything from table 2 would be shown, then matching records with table 1. So that's also how the left outer join works. So with this concept, you would be able to write much more interesting and elaborative select statements to retrieve data from your database and to also perform more exploratory analysis and insightful endeavors on your data. So we are going to stop here now and then go into some demo session on our SQL Management Studio. So you can get your SQL Management Studio ready. We are going to try out all of these commands in there now. Thank you for joining. See you in the demo session.